As soon as Floyd Stanton walked over, Nicole jumped into his arms and cried hysterically. Floyd sighed, heartbroken and angry at his daughter. She had never suffered the slightest bit since she was a child, yet she acted so lowly in front of Eric Ferguson. To make things worse, Eric Ferguson never once appreciated his darling daughter. If not for their prior agreement, Floyd Stanton would have crushed the Fergusons and beat that bastard to death to avenge his daughter. "Nikki, remember our agreement? If that bastard doesn't fall in love with you within 3 years, you'll come back to succeed me in the company. Now, you have to abide by our agreement, okay?" Floyd lovingly stroked his daughter's hair while she bawled. After a while, Nicole sobbed and spoke intermittently. "Don't worry, Dad. I won't be that stupid again." To chase after her so-called true love, Nicole abandoned her family and friends despite their advice. She gave up her identity, elite status, and luxury lifestyle to fly into her own self-destruction, like a moth to a flame. That man was finally stripped from her heart, inch by inch, but the pain that she felt was etched in her mind forever. "Good. Daddy will get your big brother to accompany you. Familiarize yourself with the company first, then we'll choose a nice day to host a welcome banquet to announce your identity." Floyd was excited because his precious baby daughter was finally going to start a career. Although news of Nicole's return to the Stanton family had not been announced yet, Nicole's best friend, Yvette Quimby, could not wait to see her and came running to her door. As soon as Yvette saw Nicole, she gave Nicole a big bear hug and said, "Baby, I've missed you so much. Congrats on your divorce." When Nicole first told them that she would conceal her identity to get married, Yvette was the first to stand up against it, but Nicole still stubbornly married into the Ferguson family and gradually lost contact with Yvette. Now that she saw her best friend after all these years, Nicole's eyes brimmed with tears again. The two ladies chatted for a long time about everything under the sun. Finally, Yvette pestered Nicole wanting to see her divorce certificate, so Nicole reluctantly took it out and showed her. When Yvette saw it, she sighed with relief. Eric Ferguson, that stupid blind son of Eb''tch. He's gonna regret this. Nicole lowered her eyes. Even if he does regret it, it doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. He's a stranger to me now. Well done, baby. You just need to wave your hand, and your admirers will be lining up from your doorstep to the outskirts of West City. That bastard can't even get in line. Yvette scoffed in disdain. Nicole suddenly remembered that she left some important documents at Eric's house, so she had to go back to take them. Yvette volunteered to go with her, which Nicole agreed to after some thought. What Nicole did not expect was to see Eric's mother, Quinn, as soon as she went back. Quinn always went to their house without notice and walked around like she was the master of the house. Quinn was very displeased when she saw Nicole return with a stranger. She held her head up high and looked at Nicole and her friend with scorn. "Nicole, didn't I tell you that we have a lot of confidential documents in the house? You can't just bring randos back here. Do you have a goldfish memory?" Yvette was stunned and spoke up in dissatisfaction. "Who are you calling a rondo? Don't you think you're too old to be calling people names? She was a pampered princess who was loved by everyone. How could she ridicule me like this?" Yvette could already tell what kind of life Nicole had while she lived here and felt infuriated. Quinn coldly snorted and gave Yvette a once-over. "Don't think you can pretend to be elite just by wearing this fake outfit. I've seen a lot of low-class people like you who dream of marrying into a rich family." Yvette sneered in anger. Nicole's face sank as she said, "She's my friend. Please show some respect." Nicole had always walked around with her tail between her legs in the Ferguson family and never talked back to Quinn. Now, she dares to reprimand me in front of outsiders? This lowly woman with an unknown background dares to speak to me like this? Quinn thought. She was furious and yelled, "Respect? Do people of your background even deserve respect? Nicole, you should count your blessings that our family accepts you to be our daughter-in-law. You've been living so well in our house for the past 3 years. Did you forget which mudhole you crawled out from? This girl you brought home is probably just like you. You both smell of poverty, so get the hell out of my house and don't stain my floors." Yvette tilted her head back and laughed from exasperation. She wanted to jump up and curse at Quinn. "Nicole, is this the result of you working so hard for these people for 3 years? We smell of poverty? How did you put up with this for 3 years? Well, you can put up with it, but I can't. Yvette stepped forward and shoved Quinn, who stumbled backward and almost fell. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Nicole, I wouldn't have even heard of the Fergusons. You're just a nouveau riche with that measly money. Watch how I'll stain your floors with your blood. If you dare, come at me with your old wrinkly limbs. Quinn was trembling with anger as she pointed at Yvette and Nicole. She threatened them. You, Nicole, I'll kick you out of the Ferguson family. Nicole did not apologize and make amends as she would have in the past. Instead, she just looked at Quinn with an expressionless face. There's no need for you to kick me out. I'll take my own things and leave. After that, Nicole ignored Quinn's shocked gaze and went straight to her bedroom upstairs. Her old self was really stupid to give up her dignity for a man. Nicole was trampled on time and time again by Quinn, who only wanted a daughter-in-law from a prestigious family, yet she did not utter a word of complaint. Going forward, she did not have to put up with all this anymore. She took nothing but her documents, then went straight downstairs. Yvette and Quinn, who were downstairs, were still shooting daggers at each other. When Yvette saw Nicole coming down, she raised her eyebrows proudly. You ready? Nicole nodded. Let's go. Nicole, I'll tell Eric what happened today. Don't think that you can just leave and come back as you please. Even if you come crying and begging on your knees, I'll still kick you out. Quinn thought that Nicole would be afraid of such a threat. As a result, Nicole stopped in her tracks and smirked, then looked back at Quinn with disdain. I forgot to tell you. I've already divorced Eric Ferguson. Even if you come crying and begging on your knees, I will never step into this house again. Nicole finished her sentence and left without hesitation. Quinn was stunned in place. Divorce? Nicole's willing to get a divorce? She immediately called her son. Eric, did you and Nicole get a divorce? Eric furrowed his brows. How do you know? You saw her? You're really divorced? That's great. This kind of woman is not worthy of being a part of our family. She's just a pheasant that wants to become a phoenix. I can't stand her from the beginning. There are so many high-born ladies waiting to marry you, so it's best if she leaves. Good riddance. Eric's dark eyes sank. His voice inexplicably became urgent. Where is she? He impatiently interrupted his mother's ramblings. Nicole had mysteriously disappeared from the hospital and he could not find any trace of her, but she finally appeared on her own. There was only one thought in his mind at this moment. I want to see her. At Imperial Gardens, of course, but she left. This reminds me, I have to check if she stole anything. You didn't give her too much money for the divorce, right? She didn't ask for a penny. Eric was a little surprised at his mother's malice towards Nicole. He had always thought that Nicole and his family got along well and did not expect his mother to be so outrightly discontented with Nicole. At least she's self-aware. Quinn coldly snorted. The man's cold eyes darkened as he hung up the phone in annoyance. He felt even more unsettled. Did Nicole ask for a divorce because of my mother? Eric went back without a thought. He barely came back to their house. When he went upstairs, he saw that everything was still there. Even the card that he gave her for her monthly expenses was untouched, but her documents in the drawer were all gone. Eric suddenly felt a tightness in his chest, and the irritable feeling became more intense. After all, he could not remain indifferent to her after 3 years of marriage. Quinn came into the room angrily. The daydream necklace in the safe is missing. It's worth $10 million. Nicole must have stolen it. I'll call the police. Eric frowned. Don't call the police. It's not her. Maybe you left it somewhere. Nicole had never asked for the password to the safe, so how could she steal the necklace? Also, it's merely $10 million. It's not worth much, so what's the point of stealing it? When Eric thought of this, he could not even recall if he ever gave his wife any jewelry in their 3 years of marriage. Eric took his car keys and left. He sat in the car and smoked a cigarette, but the uneasiness in his heart did not dissipate. Quinn was not willing to let this lowly woman get away that easily. She did not have to call the police because she had plenty of other means.